Margie Beltran. This time I will discuss about the kidney and the nephron in anatomy and physiology. The job of the kidney is to filter the blood. Basically, we get dirty blood entering and clean blood leaving. And all the waste product at all taken from the dirty blood exists as urine. Waste like dirty blood and clean blood are particularly scientific, but it's really convenient to think about it. If we look at the cross section of the kidney, the outermost part is known as cortex, medulla, next is the pelvis, and the artery that supplies it is known as the renal artery. Renal is an adjective which describes things to do with the kidney. Makes sense that the blood vessels that leaves kidney is known as the renal vein. And the tube which exits the kidney with the all waste product is known as a ureter. And the ureter is connected to the bladder, and for the bladder materials can exert to the body. Inside of the kidney, which are lots of these little structure which are known as nephron. Inside of this kidney, about 1 million of these things. Let's look closer to the first step, the nephrons here. Notice that blood entering which is coming from the renal artery which is coming through the blood vessels relatively wide compared to the blood vessels which is leaving this area. And that blood eventually connect up to renal vein in between of all this. This is also known as glomerulus. As what happened? Is this because of blood vessels that enters is wider, its bind of little bit constructed as it trying to live after? So we have already the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule, also known as the renal capsule. The tooth tube, also known as the proximal convoluted tubule. And the distal convoluted tubule. And they are just supposedly can be before and after this loop in the middle, and this loop is known as the loop of Henle.
Tube areas are known material 4.
The loop has two limbs, the descending limb and ascending limb. The descending limb, being part of the materials, falls down, and the ascending limb will rises up. Next is the collecting duct. And this is where all materials from the tubule is going to end, from there to go down until eventually exert from the ureter and then exert from the body. I'm sure by now you've come to realize that the kidney function is quite complicated. So let's try to represent in slightly different format and clarify the different steps. The dirty blood comes in the glomerulus, that material separated, we get filtrate, which contains with the waste materials. Unfortunately, it also contains a lot useful materials, and that goes into the tubule. This got separated from the blood, but it's incomplete blood. The tubule. Right now, because there's a lot of useful material like glucose, amino acids, and the things like that which are absent from the blood vessels. Through the process of selective reabsorption, materials that is useful will be transferred back into the blood, and now we get clean blood. Which is completed of a useful thing that lives behind in the tubule only, waste materials, and the urea as well as salt that is requirements too. Scientists usually categorize urine formation into three major processes. First is filtration. Filtration is the movement of materials across the filtration membrane into the Bowman's capsule to form. The second one is Tubular reabsorption. Solute are reabsorbed across the wall of the nephron into the interstitial fluid by transport process such as active transport and water is reabsorbed across the wall of the nephron by osmosis. Water and solute pass from the interstitial fluid into the peritubular capillary. Third one is tubular secretion. Tubular secretion, solutes are secreted across the wall of the nephron into the filtrate. So guys, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.